What's up, Weirdos? I'm Chris Weir, and this is the Chris Weir Experience, and today we are on episode number 7 of the Daily Weirdo. Thank you so much for joining us. Scott, welcome back.
Lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7.
And today's... That's good. I like that. That's good. So today we are going to be talking about scatology consumption. And
Chris, what is scatology consumption?
Well, scatology,
could you inform us?
Sure. Scatology is the study of feces. Consumption means eating it. So we're going to be talking about
feces, eating.
Feces,
wait,
eating shit.
Eating shit.
So in business, in life, period.
Cheers to that.
There are times we have to eat shit. And the reason I want to talk about this, the other day, I was here in the garage, and we have, over here, you can't see it, but I've got tough boxes on the side of the wall over here. It's where my storage goes. And inside of one of these tough boxes, actually, that tough box right over there on the bottom, just so you know, is my uniforms and my ribbons and medals and rank and all this kind of stuff from when I was in the military. So the other day I looked in there and I was just going through the tough box and seeing all that kind of stuff and obviously bringing back memories. So I'm sitting there thinking about the good old days that weren't always that good, but thinking about my time in Iraq. And
what's that saying? Nothing is more responsible for the good old days than a bad memory.
Hey, wow.
I'm just saying.
I like that. I haven't heard that before.
It was someone that said it smarter than me. I wish I knew who it was. I think
you're getting the quote of the week.
All right.
So I'm looking through this tough box and I'm looking at all of this stuff and kind of thinking back to that time. And aside from the fact that I was just in the military and the military's tough, it just kind of is what it is. And I did a tour in Iraq and I was away from my family for the year that I was in Iraq. And then, of course, I went in and I had the initial training. So I was gone for however many weeks all that training is. And so it was just it was a tough time. So on top of just the fact that it was tough like every other service member has during their training and deployments, just before I had joined the military it was a year before I joined the military, my younger brother was actually killed in Iraq.
Yes.
So then I'm joining the military, and my family is just loving the fact that I'm joining right after all of that happened. And then add on top of that, my brother was in the 101st Airborne Division, which is where I got stationed. I was in the 101st Airborne Division, and we both did a tour in Iraq, and of course he was killed in Iraq. So that whole time, just because of just the magnitude of that situation, was a really, really, really difficult time. You add on that before joining the military, I joined very late in life. I joined, 2005, 2006, joined 2006.
So not in your 18, 19,
it wasn't
20
my
years
prime.
old to know.
It wasn't my prime. But, I had already owned a business at that time. By the time I joined, I'd already owned my first business. I had already been a professional for almost a decade. I was married. I had 2 kids, on and on and on and on. We had already owned a house. And then I go and join the military, right? And talk about culture shock. I mean, it was a totally different lifestyle in the military, and not a bad lifestyle. It's not better or worse. It's just
different,
very,
like
very
anything.
different.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done it very early in life. No, I don't, because then all this other stuff would have. But it is really built for earlier in your prime. The 18, 19, 20-year-olds. The military is really a good place for
probably
them,
physically and psychologically too, because you're being trained at that time for a certain way of thinking, certain way of performing, certain way of doing everything, and then just knowing my body right now, it would definitely be the physicality part of it that's just different.
Well, and I also think even beyond that, because you can get your body trained, they're pretty good at training a body. You'd be surprised. They're actually pretty good at that. Half my body weight was left in the grounds of Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri in the summer, I promise. They did a pretty good job at that. Best weight loss plan ever. I think it's even more than just the physical demanding piece of it is the emotional demand. Okay. And again, especially if you're older, right? So when you're younger, you're not married, you don't have kids, that separation is more from parents. As much, and you're growing up, right? Leaving your, small children and wife for a year.
I can't imagine how
to go out that sucks. And I mean, soldiers do this every single day. And these guys, I mean, my God, those families and especially the wives and the kids back home. I mean, that is a tougher job than even the soldier themselves. But So my hat is always off to those guys because I've experienced it and I know how difficult it is. But I'm saying all that to say, it reminded me of all of that time that was wrapped around that whole kind of 4, 5, 6 years of our life. And you want to talk about eating shit, right?
Oh,
I mean, going into the military after having the lifestyle, and not that it was an extravagant lifestyle, but again, the freedom, the ability to do whatever I wanted on the weekend and not having to get permission and a pass to be able to do it, whatever the case was, and having my own business, and I made the rules, not having
not having rules made for you.
Yeah, and then some, and so it was an incredible struggle. So that is an occurrence in my life, one of many occurrences in my life where I had a significant amount of feces shoved down my esophagus. But you know what I find, right?
What do you find? I'm sorry, I got to get out past the visual of that part right now.
Not a fun visual, and it's not fun in reality either. But what I found was how I got through that and how I've gotten through all of the periods in my life that have been the most difficult is I knew where I was going. I knew what my goal was. True. Right? Mm-hmm. So I had something that I was aiming at on the other side of it. Right. Tell me about a time in your life that you had to eat shit.
I've never had to eat shit, Chris.
Oh, yes,
everything has been rainbows and unicorns and...
You've had nothing but Jolly Ranchers,
exactly.
right?
Jolly Ranchers.
Strawberry-flavored Jolly Ranchers.
Exactly. At least that's what I told myself at the time.
Exactly.
You know what? Really, to tell you the truth, it was... first thing that comes to my mind is when I first started my own architecture firm. And you start realizing all the crap that got done for you. I mean... I didn't have a receptionist anymore because I was coming from a larger, not huge architecture firm, but an architecture firm. I have to do the billing now. I have to be the IT guy. I have to be the marketing guy. I have to be all of this. And I think those first 2 months and trying to do the projects too, were probably... how can I say it? The overall eating shit from every angle, sure. Type of thing. Because I'm learning everything too. I'm learning new QuickBooks. I'm learning new spreadsheets. I'm learning all this other stuff than that. But you got to.
Yeah.
Especially when.
Well, that's a perfect segue. Because why? So that's what I want to do. I want to talk about today is why. Do you have to eat shit to get to where you want to go? We've got so many kids coming out of college today. We've got, and you know what? Let me even backtrack that. It's not just kids going out into college. It's anybody going into business or starting a new job or whatever the case is, and they think that just like this, everything should be in my plate.
Well, I mean, and you see too many times on YouTube or whatever. Oh, the new millionaire. This, But you don't want just that flash in the pan thing. You want something sustainable. You don't want to take one step, I'm a millionaire, but then have nowhere else to go either for the rest of your time, whatever your entrepreneurship is. And I think that's one of the things, how can I say this right? You have to realize when you need to eat shit to get to where you want to go. And I don't know if that sounded right.
No, it does. It's perfect because all these guys that you see on TV that just became a millionaire, nobody's seen all it took to get there.
And that's kind of what I want to talk about, Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. Oh, great. Hey, we started our computer thing in our garage. Hey, isn't this great? Isn't this awesome? How did you get from garage to Forbes? Mm-hmm. I mean, there is this quantum jump there that everyone seems to make. Oh, they just did it. You got to give me... a zit-faced kid at 17, 18 trying to sell this, product, there had to be something in there that he was eating. He had to do something he didn't really want to do, but he knew he had to get it to that level. Am I an accountant? No. Am I a marketer? Learning. Am I a computer guy? Still working on that website. We'll see it maybe 10, 20 years. I don't know. But, am I the IT guy? Learning. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But at the same time, you also have to learn when am I also, and this might be a segue, when I'm eating shit, but I'm not getting anything for it, so I need to, have someone else take care of these. That knows what they're doing too.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I had to do that the first time with my taxes. First time tax season rolled around, I was like, oh my God, there is a toilet full of excrement there that I don't even want to touch. And they're giving me like one of these little tiny dainty spoons, so it's going to take a while to get through that.
And we talked about a few, and this was not on one of the shows, but you and I had talked on sidebar at one point. We were talking about loving the process and falling in love with the steps of the process. And I think that whole idea is going to be its own show one day, but I think it does kind of apply here a little bit in that when we're talking about eating shit and what we mean by that, right? And the whole idea of this is you have to do things that you may or may not like doing for a time to be able to get you to a place that you want to be. If your goal is here and you are here, you have some disparity to make up. And that path to close that disparity is eating shit, which may mean you have to do your taxes one year. It may mean that you have to do your own marketing until you can afford to hire an agency. Right. It may mean that you have to do your own IT stuff until you can hire a networking company. Exactly. On and on. It may mean that you have to deal with rejection after rejection after rejection until you get your sales pitch down to where it needs to be.
Oh, we haven't even talked about dealing with clients and eating shit.
Yeah,
that
just adds even a whole other layer on it.
Well, exactly, because then it starts coming into ideas of, it can go into a lot of things that we talked about. Talk about the negativity, that you can feel towards some of these clients. You can negativity to feel towards yourself. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just have to eat it. Next thing, eat it. Yeah. Next thing, learn from it. Biggest thing, learn from it. But that's what the eating shit type of idea is too. It's going through something that you didn't think you'd have to do, you don't really want to do, but in order to do what you want to do, right, you need to do this one thing. Yeah. I still need to take care of all my books in order for me to have a sustaining practice. I need to know where that money's going in order for me to take care of my family, take care of whatever we need to take care of to keep my business rolling. To get the new computers, to get the new printers, to get office supplies, all of that stuff, you need to do that. And you have to understand that you need to do this, you need to love it in order so that you can do what you love, which is the entrepreneurial part of making the sale, the entrepreneurial part of moving forward, of getting closer to that goal. Even though you might be going a little left or a little right, you're still getting closer somehow to that goal.
Right, using your compass.
Not your roadmap,
once again, right? Not your roadmap. It's funny how this all comes together, isn't it? It's one big storyline.
It really is one big storyline, and we're trying to take snippets out of here to really, I want to say, solidify an idea. A, it's not easy. B, you're going to have to eat shit, but it's worth it. It's worth it to get where you want to go.
Because it doesn't happen overnight. And I think that's the biggest piece of this is the whole patience side of all of this. So outside of, personal times of my life of struggle where we were trying to get through whatever it might have been, from a professional standpoint, there's really been about 3 or 4 times that I've really been in the middle of it where I've had to eat shit. And that starting, number one, my first company, my first ad agency, it was myself and a business partner. He was doing the editing and some of the graphic design out of his basement. I was doing the administrative, the books, the sales, and everything else out of my living room.
You're not going to have, the beautiful office that you think you deserve off the bat.
No,
but if you can deal with that, and hey, take it up. That money that you're saving, you're going to build it. You're going to start.
It's not money saving because you don't even have the money coming in to be able to afford it.
Okay, well, that's a good point. It's the money not being spent.
Exactly.
That's probably the thing. You have to be smart about it.
Exactly. So we when we started our agency, it was our goal when we started was that at the end of 18 months was our goal to be able to get our own office. Now, we accelerated that because we were fortunate and grabbed a really large client that we were able to accelerate that, and it was just slightly under 12 months that we were able to get our office. But just the same, that means almost for a year, we were working out of my partner's basement, and we were working out of my living room. And by the way, we both had jobs. So we were starting the ad agency kind of, I mean, it really kind of, when we first started, the ad agency was our side hustle, to be perfectly honest with you, because we were just trying to get things rolling. As we were able to get some things going and we were able to get a little bit of finances rolling in and some good sales, we were able to turn that, and then we had a side hustle that was helping us to try to build up the agency. But there was a year there that we did a lot of hard work, a lot of long freaking hours that were painful and miserable.
Well, and at the same time, I mean, how did you do that with a second job? And that's the time. Where does all that time, come from? Where does all that time?
You have to get very good at time management.
Because that's what I was going to say too.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother section of time management.
Oh, yeah.
That I will tell you in previous meetings, Chris has helped me out a lot with the time management and, basically some strategies there, that have really helped. And
good.
Well, and it basically maybe not increased my productivity, but at least allowed me to have a life while still producing.
Yeah.
Because you have to set those hours, and that's going to be a whole nother lecture.
No,
maybe like 11 or 15 or 27.
It'll be something around that. But it is so true. I mean, and again, it's all these concepts that come in. It's understanding that you have a goal that you want to get to, right? And you're going to work. You should, if you care about your goal as much as you should. You're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. I'm doing that right now. I'm in the middle of it right now because I'm starting a new agency up. Now, granted, I've got a little bit of a cheat card only because I've done this before, very specifically this exact thing. So I've got a little bit of a leg up, but I'm in my garage. This isn't a studio. This is really my garage. Scott actually comes over to my home. He walks through my kitchen and laundry room into my garage.
I say hi to Candace.
Absolutely.
There we go.
The kids are in there probably playing and watching TV or something right now. And so, no, I mean, I am literally in my garage. I've got my little office area set up here. There's a studio kind of / in quote, studio here. I've got my eBay stuff right there, and my freaking storage is right. I've got clothes hanging up right there. I mean,
and probably one of the reasons why we get along so well is I'm in my garage too.
Well, but your garage is a lot nicer than mine.
Well,
you
we have a third car garage, so I took the third car garage, walled it off a little.
He's a graduated shit eater, so
I'm
still at level 1 eating shit. He's already at level 6.
I use a fork and a knife instead of just shoving it in. No, just kidding.
I haven't been giving utensils yet, but that's the deal. And so when we were talking earlier, we mentioned it and we glazed right over it. And I want to come back to it as loving the process. This whole thing, right? If it was the office that I desired, I would never be able to start my business because I couldn't work out of here. It wouldn't work for me.
You would be too busy bagging on yourself.
Yeah.
Being negative about yourself.
Yep.
Why aren't I in an office? I'm not good enough to to get an office and all that. And then you're going to be focusing on that instead of what you should be focusing on, which is once again your business.
Yeah.
Where you want to take this business? What do I have to do to get my business there?
Well, it's the same thing as this show, The Daily Weirdo, right? I mean, one of the things that we talked about, I think even in episode 1 we brought it up, was the cameras. I wanted additional cameras. I ordered cameras, and they ended up not being the right cameras for what we needed. So we still only have 1 camera, and I want to get to 3 cameras. I don't have the lighting that I want yet. The audio still has area for improvement. We're using TV trays here and my lawn chairs. And I mean, again, it is all part of this is where we are today. And I have to accept that. I have to love that because you know what? It's not the TV trays. or the professional desk. It's not the 1 camera or the 3 cameras. Right. It's not the 2 lights or the 6 lights or the audio. That's not what I love. That's not what I'm in love with. What I'm in love with is talking to Michelle the other day, who is taking stuff that we have said and applying it to her business and seeing results. Forget about it. I'm done. That's what I'm in love with.
How can we say it? I don't think there's too many places that tell the reality of business. Mm-hmm. I mean,
I agree.
There are self-help people. There are all these guys that are like, "Oh, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it." Hey, you get out there and then you're like, "Okay, let's put the reality of this down." Yeah, there's going to be some times you're not going to be happy with where you are, with what you're doing right now. You are, in our terminology, eating shit for this period. But it's only for that period.
Yeah, it's but a time.
It's but a time. Other things will come through it. And you might be surprised, like I was. Hey, you know what? I have a system now for doing my books. It's an easy system, easier system,
right?
But when I was learning about it, it was eating shit. But I got out of that. Right. I found the system. System works. Need tweaks every once in a while, but I'm not eating shit in that type of area now. And now I like that process,
right?
Because one, I get to see things come in. Of course, not so fun as when things go out.
Well,
but
fair enough.
As with everything.
And see, that's a micro struggle, right? Right. So you add up all these various micro struggles, and you mentioned quite a few of them. There's probably 100 more that each of our businesses, because everybody has a different business. Everybody's going to deal with different micro struggles. But and there's also the macro that you're dealing with as well on the very top of just getting off of the ground running, or just getting started in your new position and trying to get employees to start respecting you and buying into your new rules or your new procedures or whatever. I mean, God, it can be inserted into pretty much any situation that's out there. But it comes back to what we've talked about is, number one, having patience with it. And understanding that it is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. Right? I mean, I'm very much an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship. It's something that I'm in love with business. It's just something that I've always been very, very passionate about. If I'm not doing business, I'm not happy at all. If I am not in the role of entrepreneur like I experienced over the past year, last year, I'm not happy. I'm not a happy person, right? So I have to be doing that. My wife, on the other hand, is the polar opposite of that. We had a discussion today, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
We sure did. And I lost like I lose all of them.
It's a discussion. You can't lose a discussion. Arguments, you lose. Discussions.
Okay, so I was being kind when I said discussion then. But so our discussion today was on this very thing, asking me, why is it taking so long? Why are there only a handful of clients? There should be more clients. And of course, she's thinking back to the end of the last agency, and where's all these clients now, right? And so it's trying to help her understand at the same time that, look, this takes time. It takes patience. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a while. There are a ton of conversations that have to take place from a sales standpoint. There's a lot of development that has to take place from branding and from everything else that you have to do internally just to prep your brand to present. And so
this truly is his garage. You can hear the sirens in the distance.
That sounds weird.
I think it's just because you're listening them through.
One of them is going really low.
Well, it might be an engine and an ambulance. So yeah, both at the same time.
That's strange. Like I heard the squeal and then the and I'm like, what is that? Is that actually a siren?
You need to put the battery in the horn, dude. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the newbie? Where's the battery?
Your horn's dying, man. The guy in the back's not turning.
Exactly. Come on.
He's not turning enough.
What's the deal?
It's like the what is that? Pearl Harbor.
Anyway,
all right. You were interrupting me. Go.
I was interrupting you. Go. Well, I mean, because we're talking about the whole thing about, how we can be the entrepreneurs and maybe your partner isn't.
Right.
The wife and all that. I see the same thing in my wife. I will come to her with a question about this, and she will say what her answer is, and I'm like, yeah, no.
Right.
Because you don't understand the whole process of things. But there are people that I think, once again, there are entrepreneurs and there are not entrepreneurs. If, the eating shit part gets too hard, reevaluate.
Yeah. Look, patience is a requirement.
Patience is a requirement.
I mean,
I'm not saying once you say, oh, I don't like this, I need to reevaluate. No, you need to work through it.
Yeah.
Because nothing that is good comes easy.
No. Or quick.
Plain and simple. Or quick.
Look, there's one in a million that create a Facebook, right? How many Mark Zuckerbergs are there on this planet, right? There's only one.
How many Bill Gates?
Not
How
going
many
to
Steve
be
Jobs?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Right.
You're not going to be Steve Jobs. You're not going to be Bill Gates. You're not going to be those guys, most likely. There's a 99.99999% chance you're not going to be that guy. So you need to prepare as if you're not going to be.
Your compass, your compass can't be, I want to be Steve Jobs.
Exactly.
That can't be your compass. Your compass has to be where you want to be.
That's right.
Your compass has to be where you want to take your entrepreneur field, whatever it is. You may say, hey, I want success, I want these things, I want that. But Steve Jobs is Steve Jobs. Leave him to him. Zuckerberg.
Okay.
You have your own stuff.
So let's do this, right? Let's take this one more place. So we've established.
I'm following my compass with this, right?
Yes.
I'm not on a roadmap.
There's no roadmap for this
compass.
at all.
Okay.
So we have established, right, in order to reach success in business, whether it's an entrepreneurship, whether it's you are an employee in a company, you've just been hired as a manager, whatever it is, even situations in life, right?
Yeah.
In order to reach success, you have to be very patient. You've got to eat shit and you've got to get through the process. So that's a very top level statement, right? Eat shit and just have patience. How? I want success today, Scott. I want my agency to be exploding tomorrow. How do I tell myself and my mind and my brain what activities can I do down in the weeds on a granular level that will help me say, it's not going to be tomorrow, but you keep pushing hard every single day because it may be next month. It may be next year, but it's coming if you keep pushing. How do I keep myself motivated?
Well, I think it's the same idea as with any goal that you have. You have to break that goal down into your smaller goals.
Like into milestones.
I want to be there. I want to be at this point. What do I need to do? I want to be talking to these people. Well, if you want to be talking to these people, is there someone you need to get to know before those people? Is there someone you need to get before those people? How do I get where I need to be? Talk to other entrepreneurs. If you have them. Once again, you're not going to get anywhere if you stay on your own island. If you just sit there and don't put out your marketing feelers, don't put out anything else, you're not going to get to where you want to be.
Right.
If you just stay on your own little island.
Right.
Now, I will attest, I think you need that island. I think you need that island as a place to retreat and think and go back there, but you can't stay on that island.
Right.
Type of thing.
Well, the island holds proprietary items. It holds your trade secrets. It holds that kind of, and it's a place of solitude.
There's a lot of Fortress of Solitude. Oh, that's right, you used.
Is it? That was nice.
Superman, man.
Fortress of Solitude. What that is?
Come on.
I'm sorry, dude.
Just give me a moment.
I have offended.
No, just kidding. If you have offended me now. No, just kidding. But it's that how, and I think it also depends on whatever your goal is, whatever your job is, whatever your industry is.
Right.
You're going to need to know what you need to do, what baby steps you need to do to get your goal. You are not going to be a Zuckerberg overnight. You are not going to be that person overnight.
Right.
When I started my firm, I was at a point of, oh my gosh, the contractors we used at my old firm aren't going to want to use me because they're going to want to stay, how can I say, loyal to
Right, sure.
to my other guys. What about the equipment suppliers? What about this? What about that? I had to go out and contact each one of those equipment suppliers and say, hey, I have my own firm now. I am on my own. I am independent. I have split ties with XYZ.
Right.
Let's do work.
Right.
You need to get out there, and start letting people know you're there.
Well, it's funny because you went very much in the direction that I was going to go as well. The thing that I think about all the time, and it's worked very well as a visual for me, is the idea of eating an elephant, right? You can't eat it at one time, right? It's only a bite at a time.
Once again,
because
another nice visual.
You have, yeah, I'm just all in the visuals tonight, I guess. Sorry.
And I do want to say, just, we do like eating.
But not elephants.
But not elephants and not shit.
And we try to avoid the shit if we can, but sometimes you can't.
But the eating metaphor is a good metaphor. But anyway.
Oh, you're doing the metaphor.
I was metaphor. Okay.
I like eating, period.
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
you were being real. But anyway, so the idea of eating an elephant, right? You can only do it one bite at a time. You have to take all of the things that have to be done, and there's a lot of things that have to be done. I mean, again, just in launching the Weirdo group and starting and launching my personal brand, the Chris Weir Experience, there are still, and I'm not even at volume yet. I was really hoping that this week I would be at the volume of daily weirdos that I want, which is one video a day, I'm still not even able to be there yet because there are just so many little things that have to be done and taken care of to get all this done. But okay, then those things have to be done. So I use a project management software that I love, the task, the to-do list, whatever it is that you want to call it or however you want to do it. And I lay all my stuff out that I have to get done and I just knock it out. And you know what? Yes, I come in the evenings and I spend dinner with my family if we're lucky enough to, because the kids are going in 370
different directions.
Different directions. But if we're able to have a little bit of family time in an evening, I try to do that. I try to give my wife a few minutes as well. And guess what? When they go to bed at 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm right back down here. And I'm spending a couple of hours in here. And if it's a really, really busy day and I got behind, I'm spending a few hours down here. And I go back to bed. And this is literally my schedule. I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I come down here and I work. And then if I've got to stay up until midnight, 1 o'clock, it is what it is. And I'm right back down here at 6:30,
But once again, you got to do it to get to where you want to be.
Exactly. And I'm already, and listen, I mean, again, you see small victories because when you are consistent, when you're persistent, when you're patient, and when you're busting your butt and doing the things that you need to do. Now, there's a whole big conversation on, working smart and doing the things that you need to be doing. But let's assume for this conversation, you're doing the things that you need to be doing.
Right.
You're going to start realizing small victories. You have to love those small victories. The milestones, as you were mentioning earlier, you set your micro goals, right?
And I will tell you, the biggest thing is to celebrate those big victories.
Oh, I agree with you.
Because that's one of the things that we talked about a long time ago.
We did.
For me, after every project, I have a scotch and a cigar.
Yeah.
And it gives me a time to look back on the project. It gives me a time to, think back on, hey, I did this right. Oh yeah, that meeting could have gone better. I could have said, this. I could have timed this better. Have a little recorder on your side. Talk about what you did to yourself. Get some of those ideas out there. So, next project, once again, I don't think you're ever going to have a plan or a prototype or whatever that is 100% click, 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 next point,
Sure,
boom, you're done.
Sure.
There's always going to be a client. There's always going to be something out there, a city or codes or whatever, that's always going to, change that plan.
Yeah.
But at least you have a starting point,
right.
To come, to go from and all. It's going to take time to get all that prototype together. However, whatever the process is, you're going to learn, oh, hey, you know what? I have one more thing to put in the process.
Right.
And I'm going to say, just from a, how can I say it? I don't want to say design standpoint, but maybe administrative standpoint, write it all down. Write your process down.
Sure. Because
you would be surprised how many times you might think, oh, I got this. You're going to miss a step.
Yeah.
I still have a checklist.
Yep.
I've had it done over probably Probably 500 dental offices.
And when we're getting practical like this and we're talking really granular, which I love this. I love when we get down this small and this granular. I mean, I mentioned earlier, I use a project management software and it allows me to create templates. So I have, like, for instance, when we do the daily Weirdo, right? One of the things that I'm going to be talking with you guys a lot about as I'm solidifying this, as a matter of fact, I'm almost done with this whole presentation that I'm going to be putting out, is the Weirdo content method, right? And how we create content, where I can create one piece of content like you and I sitting here doing the daily Weirdo, which then spawns 30 additional pieces of content from that. So whenever I do the daily Weirdo, I've created and I've honed in, and now over the past 3 weeks have been working this template where, okay, we do A, B, C, D, E, F, G every single time we do the Weirdo. Well, now I have that template. All I have to do is save as. I start a new project just with the template I've already used, so that I'm not missing steps.
Right.
To your point,
Right. Like
there's a lot of things that take place here, right?
Like my dental projects. I have a dental prototype. New code comes in. I read through the code. Ooh, I need to change that one, that one, that one, so that I don't have to remember each time. Hey, I need to do this and this. On the AutoCAD, the new codes that I need to change or sections or whatever, I keep in red, so that when I'm reading it, oh, is this the right date? Because the cities here are in 3 different divisions of the code, and all that. But you got to have a prototype. You got to have a process. You got to have a way of putting all this stuff together, even though it might not be all the same pieces each time. You still have a way of putting all this stuff together. When I did restaurants, I have a restaurant prototype, which I'd really have to update since I haven't done a restaurant in a long time, unless there's anyone who wants me to do it. But shameless plug.
Wow.
But I've done churches and all that too. So I mean, I've kept those as a template, and the churches are different. So, but I bring in all the keynotes, all that stuff from all the churches, because then I can just go through. Oh, I don't need this. I don't need this. Oh, I need that. I need that. I need to expound on that, and just tailor it to that process. Now, once again, that's something about the process that I love. That's architecture. That's the design. That's putting this building together on paper. And then knowing that, hey, a contractor who hopefully loves his job as much as I love architecture, puts it into, makes it real and, puts it all together.
And that's applicable across every industry, really. I mean, you can mold that into not just in business. Again, it's in personal life as well. You can mold that across. So let's summarize all of this, right? So again, what we're talking about is eating shit, and you're going through those times where you're in a difficult point, you're in a struggle, you're trying to reach a goal, and you're just at that point where you're having to bust your butt to get to where it is that you're wanting to go. The things that we talked about employing is, number one, first and foremost, is employing patience, right? Is understanding that this is a process. It's a process going to take time. Right. It is not going to happen immediately. Right. Calm yourself. Do not stress out. Do not think that just because it doesn't happen tomorrow that you're a failure and the thing is not working. That is not the case, right? Have patience. So mentally, you need to be prepared to have patience, right? Also, mentally. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say the same type of thing of, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
It was right there, trying to come up, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. This part you have to get through. It's not going to take forever, but you still have to get through it. Yeah. And I can't say this enough, because just learn from it. Learn while you're going through this. Take what you can and learn from it to apply to the next time you're going to be eating shit.
Yeah. So patience.
Patience.
Learn from everything that you're doing. Be persistent, consistent, and frequent with your activities. Know the things that you need to be doing every single day. And again, that's a whole other deal. But know those things, and assuming that you know the things that you need to be doing, the proper things that you need to be doing, make sure you're attacking those aggressively every single day with all the energy that you have, and just be prepared to take a while. Then we started getting really granular and talking about how, right? So it's the analogy of eating the elephant. It's your micro goals. It's breaking everything up into little small projects so that you can have small victories. And to your point, celebrate those victories, right? Every single time that you accomplish a micro goal, right? Be sure you celebrate that and that you reward yourself for doing that. That'll be positive reinforcement. Scott does scotch and a cigar at the end of every single project. He's getting me into scotch and a cigar. So, I mean, it's whatever it is that you want to do that is rewarding to you, right? You go out to eat with your family. You go on a hike. You do, whatever.
I think one of the things that goes to that...
Not you. I mean, obviously.
Firstly, I appreciate that. I prefer main bag.
Right.
Okay.
Well.
But I think the funny thing that you're going to learn too is once you start, attacking these things aggressively, you're going to learn some of the fear is going to be taken out of it too, and some of that. Every time you do it, okay, I got this. I got this. And it's going to become, just like sports, muscle memory. I got this. Okay, I know what to do here. I know what to do here. And sooner or later, all these aggressive things that you're attacking aggressively, okay, these don't seem so hard. And now it's time for the next, step. It's you're going to get stronger, better, quicker, smarter, all the way through this process.
And as we've already talked about, momentum starts gathering.
Exactly.
And with every single victory, you get a little bit more, you get a little closer to your goal, and you're getting closer and closer, and you start moving faster and faster. And you will get there. You will get there. Again, it's going to take patience. You got to have patience,
once again,
but it's going to happen.
Like we talked about last time with the with the negativity. Yeah, you might take a step back, learn from it, step forward again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the whole thing.
You have to keep moving forward. You have to keep going. You have to
push. Sorry, I keep bringing us back and forth between all of these. I'm
sorry. But it is
running.
Yeah. Like we said, it's a running storyline. There is a reason and there is a rhyme to these conversations that we're having. This is a narrative that needs to be had. And I think one of the things that I like so much about the Chris Weir experience and kind of where I'm at and what I'm able to share with my audience is I have been through the process of starting a business before, built the business to a level of success that we really enjoyed. And now I am doing it again, right? So I know what the end game looks like. I know a lot of the obstacles to avoid. I know some of the. I'm going to have a lot that I don't know. There's going to be new ones here that we run into. But I'm not talking to you from the 15th floor of my building in downtown Phoenix. I'm not there yet. So I'm talking to you from my garage. So I'm right in the middle of it with you. We are right in the middle. You're still even in I think, and I've got to be careful here because I haven't talked to him about this on the sidebar. But I think you're on the precipice of some really impressive growth and some stuff that really excites the hell out of me from some stuff that you've got going on. But I'm going to be careful. I'm not going to go too far, but I'm just saying I think you're about to see some massive growth as well. And I think we're both kind of, and that's one of the reasons that I really wanted you to be involved in this as much as you possibly can, because I think there's just perspective, and I think there's a lot that you can gain from hearing us in the middle of it right now. We're not talking to you from our ivory tower because we're not to our ivory tower yet. It's out there. I see it.
My
I know exactly where it's at.
It just moved over there.
Yeah, right. I know exactly where it's at. I can taste my office. I can smell it. I know what my office is going to smell like. I know what it's going to sound like because I've heard it before and I know how I want it to sound. And so when I close my eyes, I know exactly where I need to be. And when I open my eyes, I see where I'm at and I see the things that I need to start changing to get there. So I need this to grow to this, and I need that to grow to this. And it comes back to those micro goals, eating the elephant one piece at a time. That's the only way that you're ever going to be able to get this stuff, tackled and broken out and ultimately arrive at whatever it is that your goal or your definition of success is, whatever that is, and it's different for every person. Whatever that is, it's every day just closing that disparity. closing that disparity is the idea of eating shit. That's the Scatology consumption model.
Scatology consumption.
Yeah, the Scatology consumption model.
I think I hear a T-shirt. Another T-shirt.
It's got to be something. But we got to start writing this stuff down.
I think so.
I mean, seriously, we got to get these T-shirts made up. Because people are going to be asking for these. I'm going to be asking for these. I'm going to start wearing them. So, but anyway, again, as always, I really hope that you guys can take, again, a piece of, what I've said, a piece of what Scott said, and mold these for yourself. Again, take our ideas and kind of create some of your own. I hope that you got value from this. If you did, please do me a favor. Share it with somebody. It's the only reason that I know the things that I know. It's the only reason Scott knows the things that he knows. Is somebody was nice enough to share content with us through the years. Granted, mine was printed and in a book and a hardback, but today it's a lot easier. All you have to do is share and send a link, right? Exactly. It's a lot easier today. So you got no damn excuses. So share the content.
He's calling you out.
With somebody. I did. I just put it out there, right?
But it's good.
But in all seriousness.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, because if you share this with someone and then they watch this and then they, oh, dude, I got this from this. Oh, I didn't get that, but I got this. Conversations, communication. That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
That's it.
And that's about just learning from each other and be each other's apprentice in a sense. I don't know. It's just, you're not on an island alone.
Right.
Even though we might be in totally different industries, there's still so many similarities between the process and the journey itself.
Yep. So please do me a favor. Share the content, like, subscribe, go join me on all my different social media channels. And look, the podcast, by the way, the podcast is going really well.
What's the podcast?
There are a ton of listenings.
Listenings?
Boy. We were talking about Tennessee earlier, and it's I can't talk about Tennessee without getting a little bit of my hometown coming out of me. But listens are going really well. I am extremely excited about podcasting. If you're not podcasting, you better start. We're going to do some content on podcasting to kind of help you get started on that. But I'm telling you, that's where this is going. So podcast is doing great. If you are listening to the podcast, do me a favor, subscribe. Let me know definitely. By subscribing. That helps me out. And then comment and all that kind of stuff. Let's engage. Let's talk this stuff through. It's the only way that we all grow, right?
Exactly.
It's just engaging. Guys, thanks so much again for joining us. We really appreciate it. This was a great one. I loved this conversation because it's always a big one. So I appreciate you watching through, and hopefully you gained something from it. Yep.
Hopefully too. Yeah.
Scott, as always.
I know I always gain something.
Appreciate you,
watching it again.
Yep.
Awesome.
You don't watch it again.
Dude,